Summer Foodies, it's Chef here. As you might have seen from my post like 20 minutes ago, yeah, I'm more motivated. I want to get back on track. I want to get healthy. I'm just sick of feeling like sluggish. Yeah, I've been eating carbs lately. I sort of got into this like phase, I suppose. Like I have this like really old sourdough starter that was in the freezer that's like, if you know anything about these starters, you know, like they have like family histories, and it's really special to me. And I got it out and started making sourdough again, and so it's like really good quality, you know, and so then I'm like eating it. So that's the problem when you want to make sourdough. So that's the reason it ends up back in the freezer every now and then, is because when you want to make sourdough and experience that whole process, well, then someone's got to eat it. So I was making it for family, but then of course I was making like some of the best stuff I've ever made. So then I'm just eating it all the time, and I'm feeling bloated, and I'm feeling sluggish, and all my clothes are feeling tight, and I'm gassy, and oh, so yeah, that's what I meant in that previous post about just being fed up. And so sometimes you feel all those things, and then you reach a point where you're just like, oh, like I've just had enough of feeling that way. So now I'm going to do something about it. So I've set up both the kids here today. I know a lot of you love seeing the old classic, which is actually the one that I use all the time because it's my baby, and this one gets banished to the spare room. But I thought, yeah. So anyway, I'll get into it, and I just want to give you some of my tips of like, in particular, when I get restarted, some of the things I do. So what I'll do is I'm just going to do really simple things today, nothing special. I'm just going to do some eggs and do some mayonnaise, because like that is always the first thing I do when I'm getting restarted is I boil some eggs. The reason I do this is because, sorry, two things at once, is because my downfall is when I forget to eat or too busy to eat or whatever those reasons are, and then suddenly I'm starving. And then you just start like looking around the kitchen, what can I eat, what can I eat, what can I eat? And all the quick grab things are always like the worst things. So that's why the first thing I do is eggs, because then I always have boiled eggs ready in the fridge for those moments. And also, you know, I make other things out of it. So what I've done is 500 grams of water. Now I know that TM6, you can do this in there now with the blade not turning, but you can also still do it this way, which I mean, I don't have any problems with doing it this way. I'm going to put lots in because so long as they're fully cooked, my son has them in his lunchbox. So on that note, did I put the right basket in there? How can you tell the difference? Yeah, I think that's the right one. Anyway, it seems to be happy in there. So if you're buying just what they call large eggs, or if you have your own chickens and they're, you know, that size, 50 grams or so, then I always just do aroma temp 14 minutes, speed 2 or 3. But I found that because I usually buy the extra large eggs, that sometimes the yolk's not quite cooked and my son doesn't eat them. So, which is fine, I eat them all, but I can't put them in his lunchbox. So I've just filled that basket up with eggs, and I'm going to go up to aroma, and I'm going to do 14 minutes. No, I'm going to do 15, right? And get that going. I've done nothing special to those eggs. I probably won't keep talking for 15 minutes. So what I'll do is I'll just tell you what I'm going to do at the end of that. This is my special trick. Hi, Auntie. Is once they're done, in the basket, I get the basket and I shake it. And all the eggs bash and knock against each other and crack. Then I get a bowl or whatever containers lying around of really cold water, and I chuck them in there, or sometimes, you know, just put the whole basket in if it fits, and that's it, they're done. What happens is You know, when things are hot, they expand, and when they are cool, they shrink down. So what happens is they, as they're shrinking down, it sort of sucks in some of that cold water, and you end up with this layer of water inside the shell between the boiled egg and the shell, and then they're super easy to peel. So I saw this Instagram or something thread the other day about all these different tips, you know, bicarb in the water, vinegar in the water, pinprick hole, all these things, fresh eggs, old eggs, eggs from the fridge. Everyone's got these tips, but everybody had a story that said, oh no, that doesn't work, no, that doesn't work. This works. It doesn't matter where the eggs come from, how old they are, how you cooked them, just give them a good shake. Works with quail eggs as well, because they're notoriously hard to peel. That's where I learnt the trick, because like soft-boiled quail eggs are just horrible, impossible to peel, and yeah, just have to peel like 100 in one go. So yeah, shake them all, crack the shells, and then into ice water. So now I'm just going to make some mayonnaise. Now Brod has been wanting me to talk about oil, sorry, off screen, for ages. And so the other week I was like, okay, I'm going to do that oil video for Brod. And then I started researching, and then I went down a rabbit hole, and then I just was like, oh my god, I don't know anything about oil. I thought I knew stuff about oil, and I don't. But what I can tell you is this is what we always recommend having on hand. So an extra virgin olive oil for dressing. And when I say dressing, I mean like dressing anything. You can dress a salad, but I love dressing like roast veggies, like just anything, because I love the flavour of extra virgin olive oil, and it's a great way to get all those really good oils and health benefits and everything in, you know. And then this is the oil I use for everything else. Personally, this is the one I use. This one, I wait till it comes up on special half price, which works out cheaper than buying like a big tin of it. It's in glass, which I love. I have not found an Australian refined olive oil. All the great Australian oils are extra virgin, so I always try and buy an Australian one, again glass or one of those boxes, because light deteriorates the oil, and you don't want the plastic. You want to try and avoid that too. So I don't want to talk too long about this, because then I won't get to the mayonnaise. But if you're going to make mayonnaise, don't use this. Your mayonnaise will just taste awful, really bitter. When I went down the rabbit hole of oils, I found that you can get, and I know this is what, I forget his name, Quirky Cooking's other half, I'm really sorry, I forgot his name. He recommends cold pressed cold pressed sunflower oil. So I started trying to research about that, because the whole reason with the whole keto thing that we say to avoid all of the refined oils is because of the process in which they refine them. It can trigger like free radicals, and those oils, like the seed oils, like canola and things like that, they're not something that we evolved eating. If you think about that, like, we didn't evolve eating canola flowers or wherever those seeds come from. But sunflower oil, avocado oil, coconut oil, olive oil, all those things that I just listed come from things we eat. Anyway, I don't think I have really explained that at all, so I'm really sorry, God. But the oils we recommend are coconut oil, avocado oil. I use a bit of sesame oil, and then I always have the extra virgin olive oil, and I have the refined olive oil. So I'm going to quickly make that mayonnaise now. This one's gone to sleep. So I'm going to do a yolk, just 2 yolks. Okay, so we have lots of mayonnaise recipes, but it's not something that I follow a recipe for, so it's really more to show you the method and to explain some of the things to you. So I'm just going to pop the yolks in. So the first thing that I want to talk about is it's good to add a bit of salt at the start. So you'll find our recipes will always have the salt at the start. The reason for that is salt does not dissolve in oil. It will stay separate. So I add the salt at the start because it will actually go into the liquids that are in there. So I can always like adjust it at the end. I'm going to start with a teaspoon, or about 3/4 of a teaspoon, and to those I'm going to add some vinegar. I've got white wine vinegar. You can use the apple cider vinegar if you want, or just white vinegar. So I add that. What I do now before those egg yolks start curing is, while I'm talking and flapping about finding other ingredients, is I start that mixing, because it stops the egg yolk. Because if you're doing an egg yolk only and you walk away and you leave that too long, it can actually start to cure that yolk, and then you end up with little hard sort of semi-cured bits of yolk. So I'm just going to start that spinning while I'm talking now. And I'm going to add some mustard. Absolutely love Dijon mustard, so I add quite a bit. It's a good heaped teaspoon. Alright, and that's it. And then I'll add some lemon juice as I go. So when you do a yolk only mayo, it's a lot thicker, and there's higher, usually sometimes higher chance of it splitting, separating, and that can be because, so with the emulsifications, what you're doing is you're taking these molecules and the oil molecules and you're making them sit together like this, because as we all know, oil and water don't mix, but you can make them suspended within each other, and that's what makes it look different and taste different and have different consistency. And sometimes you'll find like, oh, it doesn't look right, and it's because this hasn't happened. It's sort of happened like this, and then slowly over time the two just come apart again, like if you have a jar of water and oil and the oil floats to the top. So and what people talk about is when you have like a ratio of egg or yolk to oil, it's because there's only there's a saturation point where you can't get any more oil in there because you've saturated it. So that's when it reaches that point where it starts to get really thick and really glossy. Then I throw in, you can just throw in a little bit of cold water, or that's at the point when I add my lemon juice, because then I'm only adding the ingredients I want in there anyway. And then that sort of loosens this out and allows for more oil to come in. And if you find like you end up with a runny mayonnaise, it's because you've got too much in this side and not enough here. So if you just add more oil, it will fit together and then you'll get that nice tight emulsification. I hope that's explained that a little bit for you about what mayonnaise is, because that's totally what I came here to do, isn't it? No. I came here to boil eggs and make mayonnaise. Okay, so I'm going to just turn that up to 4, and I'm just going to start pouring in this. And while I'm doing that, oh, of course you can weigh this out in advance, but I know that two egg yolks will take about 200 grams of oil, about 100 grams each. It's starting to get really glossy. I'd love to show you that. Can you see that? don't think that's really coming through, is it? How do I... Oh, no, I can't do it without just creating a huge shade, like shadow that just makes it look dark in there anyway. But when it starts to get glossy, then I just add a little splash. And I don't know if you've heard that change. It loosened up. Now I can add more oil. And I can add it faster now. Don't have to keep going slow. At the start, you want to go really slow and kind of speed up. And I'm just looking at it and looking at how thick it is. So you can make a really thick one, depends on how you like it. If you put it away in the fridge and it's just like way too thick for what you were intending on using it for, just add some cold water or some lemon juice. Depends on how tangy it is already, so don't add the lemon juice if it's like, if you've gone heavy on the vinegar and it's really tangy. If you like go overboard with the vinegar or the lemon juice, you can always, I'll just show you where it's at. You can always add a bit of sweetener is where I was going with that. So that's looking really, really fabulous, really thick. I'm going to taste it to see where it's at. Like I said, we have lots and lots of recipes for mayonnaise. That's delicious. Definitely needs more lemon juice. I love it really tangy. When I was a consultant, my old group leader used to go through so much mayonnaise. And she used to put 4 cloves in every time she made it. And I tell you what, it was so delicious. And that garlic would intensify over time. It was amazing. But I don't always want the garlic. I'm going to have this in the fridge. I'm going to use it for various different things. And not all of those things are going to want the garlic. The reason I'm adding more oil is because I want more lemon juice. So I'm thickening it up and then I'm going to loosen it out with the lemon. And that should be pretty nice now. So that's looking really, really lovely. So one of the things I love doing at this point is like taking a bit out and then throwing in heaps and heaps of baby pickled cucumbers, the cornichons, capers, a bit more mustard, some parsley, maybe a little bit of garlic, and chopping that through. So then you kind of have your mayonnaise, but then you also have like this sort of like a tartare style, tartare. So just a couple of the other tips for like sort of getting on track. These are really, really, really basic things, but these are just the things that I always do. So one of the things I do is like basically fill my fridge with salad ingredients. So things like mayonnaise, boiled eggs, a really nice salad dressing. So on the weekend, I just got a heap of parsley that my auntie had given me from her garden, and I chucked that in there just with lemon juice from her tree as well. So yeah, make sure you get an auntie with a really nice lemon tree, or get a lemon tree or buy a lemon, and olive oil and a bit of salt. I think that was all. I just blended that up, and that's in the fridge now. So I've got this salad dressing, just like some grated carrot. Oh, this is like, just buy a heap of broccoli, cut it into little florets and blanch it, and then just have like broccoli florets in the fridge to add to any salad. It really bulks out the salad, especially if you're looking at a salad and you're like, oh man, lettuce and cucumber again. I've got chopped up lettuce. Yeah, oops, throwing it everywhere. When you chop it up, oh look, I did talk for 15 minutes. When you chop it up, it does go brown, but you know, at least stay like, you know, a day ahead really helps. Buy a whole celery, bring it home, cut it up and wash the whole thing. Because then you're forced to eat it because it's there, it's ready. But don't buy a whole celery and then try and shove it in the fridge, because then you'll never buy a whole celery again. Buy it, bring it home, wash the whole thing straight away. So I don't have a thing ready for the eggs. I know, sorry if I sound patronising, but it's really basic tips, but honestly, sometimes like we just forget that these are the things that we'll just like, I've talked before about, you know, your future self, like you give these gifts to your future self, because future Michelle might be in a bad mood, tired, hungry, and all of that stuff, so you set them up. Just going to give that a shake. I'll do it over here. Bounce them around, shake. Sometimes, like, some of them don't crack. Oh no, they're all, that one doesn't look cracked. So sometimes I'll just knock it on the sink as it goes in. That one's not cracked. Ooh, you know what? I'm not sure they're fully cooked. They'll be lovely for me, but we'll see. So they will chill in there now, and they'll be super easy to peel. Look, I can get one out and show you already. It's probably already like gonna be. No, it probably needs to cook. Oh no, here we go. Look, it's just gonna slide right off. See, once you get going, and that's still like piping hot. And I'm just going to make a bit of egg salad with some of it. I'm going to keep some for my son. I might like keep a couple aside for snacks. Yeah, so I should probably end it there. I think I've covered everything I was going to cover. Oh yeah, some protein. Great idea to like get yourself some of those pork belly strips or some chicken or something like that, and cook that on a Sunday and have that in the fridge ready to go as well. And then you've got like everything you need for like if you're going to work, make a salad in the morning or the night before, or if you're working from home, just go raid the fridge and grab a few things, chuck it in. Even if you're working from home, it's a great idea to make that salad first thing in the morning, because yeah, you're probably in the kitchen anyway. All right, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.